Hey folks, we're back. Dallas Ducks this week is back on the air after a fairly lengthy hiatus once again. I'm joined here by head coach Bill Zaniboni. Hey Bill, thank you for letting us use your office. This is another spot that we've used. We've tried different settings. My favorite is your deck, by the way. I know that's not hockey season.
It's snow covered right now.
Yeah.
That's
my favorite place to chat.
Absolutely.
So here we are heading into the home stretch of the USPHL Midwest regular season. 8 games to go. 3 of them are going to take place this weekend, starting Friday night with, ironically, your first meeting of the season with the St. Croix Valley Magicians, formerly the Hudson Crusaders.
Yep.
A team that you've had a chance to see a couple times in the showcase and stuff like that, but it's kind of strange facing a team for the first time right now, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it's, and it'll be a good test for us. So
yeah.
I think we're excited, and they're a high skilled team. They've had a lot of promotions within for players up and down. And,
right.
Those are the guys that you want to face right now going into the playoffs. So yeah, we're excited. I think we meet them twice here in the next couple weeks. Once here, once up there, and it's a little different that we haven't played them already in 40 games, but again, we're excited to have the opportunity to play a high skilled team like that.
Now you mentioned the promotions up and down. They do have a little bit of a unique setup there. Obviously, the name is a bit of a giveaway. They are actually an affiliate team with the Magicians from the NAHL.
Yeah.
I think it's the same ownership group, and obviously that can have some benefits and some disadvantages as well. It's a nice little pipeline for your players, but if a player is doing really well, you might just lose them at a rough time. So a unique situation has pluses and minuses, I suppose.
Yeah, absolutely. But that's the nature of the beast, and at any level, right? Unless you're in the NHL, I think that's why guys play the game, is to see how far they can climb that ladder. So any kind of advantage that you can get as a player is good, and hopefully you make that most out of the opportunity. So
right. And the Ducks, well, not an affiliate team, does have some really good relationships with at least a couple teams in the NA, and Coach Zaniboni is familiar with most of the coaches in that league. You've talked to a lot of them in the past.
Yeah. I mean, well, we've been pretty fortunate here to have a lot of good hockey players, right, come in our doors and become part of our family, and get the opportunity to advance at the next level, whether it's in the United States or Canada. And I think that's part of it, is a network for the guys that are here now and for the guys that are coming in the future.
Right. So the game against the Magicians now is they're one of the other 4 opponents that are really in a fierce dogfight heading down the final 8 to 10 games of the regular season. I guess every team has a little bit different approach. You mentioned to me last weekend that excuse me, I always want to call them the Crusaders. The Magicians bring a lot of speed and finesse. Maybe a little bit different than some of the other teams you've played, but this is a team that you're going to have to really be. I guess you're not going to be able to make any mistakes, or they might just skate right by you.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think they're going to be pretty comparable to the Chicago Cougars.
Okay.
I think they activate their D a lot, right? Like, they just got Pete Caravos back, who was a leading scorer last year in the Minnesota League, who's up with the NA club, and they just got him back at the deadline. So he's a guy you got to probably know that's on the ice, and when he's on the ice, and they got McKenzie back on the D, who's been up and down, and they got some really effective players, nice skill, high paced players, and it's going to be exciting for us to kind of see, and hopefully we'll, as a staff between me and Alex, we'll have to really pay attention to what lines we're trying to match, and being at home gives us that advantage.
Okay. We talked a little bit about last week about just the sort of the maybe locker room sort of atmosphere in the days right after the trade deadline. You seemed really happy with the way the guys approached last week's two-game series, both through the week in practice and the way they played the games. Some emotion in that game, in both games, including a tough loss in the Sunday afternoon game. And there was some emotion after that, which I personally think is kind of a good thing. You should not really like losing. And has that carried over through this week? I mean, do you feel like the guys are really getting into it now that we're into the nitty-gritty of the season?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think so. And, you know, I do. I think last week could be a really good turning point for us as a group. You know, we got to find probably a couple more different ways to score goals. And,
yeah.
You know, and goals only get tougher as the season gets longer, right? So, you know, we found that out like last year at the national tournament, 2-2-1 games and 1-3-1 games. So, you know, hopefully we can battle back from that. And but if we keep our same mindset that we've had and the work ethic, I think we're going to be okay. And, you know, for some odd reason, like our guys hate playing the Rapids. You know, I mean,
oh yeah, they're always close.
You know, they don't like each other for some reason, and you know, there's a lot of emotion there. And, you know, it makes for usually some pretty good hockey.
Okay. Kind of one of the bad news, good news situations when you look at the offense. You're right, the goals have been hard to come by, maybe in particular since New Year's, but the good news is the chances are there. There's been some missed chances. You talked about some posts and stuff like that. I know it's a cliche and everything, but it could just be as simple as getting some bounces this weekend.
Yeah, hopefully. I think our guys are doing the right things, and that's, you know, that's the hardest thing, is to try to keep them motivated, because we have had a lot of chances to score goals.
Yeah.
We just haven't. But you know, I think they will come if we stay on track and, you know, and stay the course. I think our guys have done a good job of that, and you know, we have given up the least amount of goals in the league. So, so that helps us win games tight, and you know, tight games right now will hopefully make us a little more comfortable in that spot. You know, once playoffs come.
Yeah, that's well said. Actually, you know, come playoffs, the defensive teams are usually the teams that go a little bit further when the postseason rolls around.
Yeah, well, I mean, we'll see. You still got to score goals to win, and you know, we win 1-0, and then we lose 2-1 on the weekend. So, or 2-1, right? Yeah. So
that's right. Yep.
It was tough. I mean, scoring 2 goals in 2 games, you're not going to win a ton of hockey.
Yeah, it is tough to win a game scoring just one, but you definitely have the defense and goaltending to make it stand up sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes we do. Yeah, it's just, you know, we got to be more consistent in all 3 aspects.
So on paper, I guess you would say the toughest game is up front this weekend, Friday night. That's tomorrow night at 7:30. This might not get online till Friday, but it's a Friday night game at 7:30 against St. Croix. Then Saturday, the Blaine Energy will be here. That's a team that's kind of fighting for their playoff lives right now. They, you know, on paper, there's a big disparity. Well, you've learned from a couple other teams this season that you sure don't want to look past anybody.
Yeah, I mean, you know, and we can't take a night off for ourselves, not because of anyone else, you know, preparation, but like we got to come in and we have to have a mindset of we need to win every night, and you know, our guys have to believe it. So, you know, we can't go in and just, okay, we're playing a team that you know, is scratching and clawing to get in the playoffs. You know, we have to try to just keep momentum on us and worry about what we have to do to continue to do the right things.
Okay. And then you wrap it up Sunday afternoon. I believe it's a 2 p.m. game against the Illiana Blackbirds. It'll be your 6th and final meeting with them. And that's a team that's been a bit of an enigma here the last couple of weeks. They maybe have been playing their best hockey of late, maybe a little bit better than their 6th place position would dictate. Yeah,
I think, you know, I thought last time they came in here, they beat us in a shootout, and then we beat them on the Saturday night. But you know, they definitely have been a team that is on the up and up, and you know, I think come playoff time, that's another team that, you know, could really take someone off of their seat, and you know, just another team, right? They're older, they're mature, they're tough, they're gritty, they're chippy. It's makes for fun hockey, and that's what we're looking for right now.
Okay. You are still, I guess, lucky enough or fortunate enough to be in a position where you have a lot of control over your own fate. I know you've been at Tavashi before, but watching the scoreboard at this time of year, and you always insist that you're more focused on your own games. And the nice thing is, if you win as many of your own games as you can, you should have some control over where you finish the season.
We should. We should have some control. I mean, I think last weekend, as happy as we were, there's no moral victory. So
yeah, right.
Winning Friday really put us in a good driver's seat and probably control of our own destiny. And then the loss on Saturday or on Sunday, probably took a little bit of that away.
Yeah.
And you got to be realistic, and it is what it is. It's over with. And you got to look forward. So we right now, we probably understand that first place is probably out of grasp, but it's still there. The only thing we can do is worry about ourselves. So that's the only thing we're gonna do, and that's we've been focused on here and trying to keep these guys' mindset on. It's too close of a race between the 5 teams to to be worrying about everyone else. I mean, if you just worry about yourself and do your job, I think you put yourself in a good spot for playoffs no matter what.
Yeah. And it does seem like, I know that, things might shake out. Maybe if a team drops a couple or 3 this weekend or wins all of them, things might change. But it does seem to be something that's going to probably come down to the last weekend when you play a home and away set with the River Kings. Just for the people who are watching this, there really is a 5-team race right now. The plum spots are going to be the first 2. Because the first 2 rounds of the playoffs will be played here in the Midwest, and then everybody will go out east. So being in the top 2 would theoretically guarantee you home ice for those 2 rounds. While the 5th spot, that means a good team is probably not going to get home ice at all.
Yeah.
So that kind of sets up where you want to be and where you want to avoid. But there's 5 teams all doing the same thing right now.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, it's just a rat race, and it's exciting, right? Like this is.
It is, yeah.
Probably the second time in my 4 years that I've been here that it's been like that with more than 2 teams. And my first year, obviously, we were middle of the pack. 3-4 team that made it to the finals against the Northern Lights, and it was a great series, right? We lost in overtime 1-0 in Game 3, and the last 2 years it was kind of a two-team race between us and Rochester, and great, exciting, fun. But this year we haven't had this where it's a regular season. Every game is so important, and every play and every minute, and mistakes are magnifying because a goal changes everything right now. And that's exciting. That's playing at the next level right now for these guys. So that's what you want. You want that accountability.
It seemed to me like it kind of came from out of nowhere, partly because I think there was a little bit of disparity in games played between some teams. But really, just the last couple of weeks, you've really seen it, and now you don't think it could get any closer until you see the games from that night, and then there it is, it's closer again.
Yep.
And it really does seem like it's going to come right down to it. And, you don't have the luxury of, hoping that you play this team in the postseason. Right now, you just want to get every point you can and get as good a position as possible.
Yeah, the postseason is going to be, it's going to be interesting.
Oh boy!
You almost wish that it was best of 5 or best of 7 because the games are going to be, I think, awesome.
Yeah.
I do. I think the games are going to be just awesome. It's right now. We have 8 games left, and I would say eight of our games are going to be fun. Like it's you got to coach, and you got to guys have to understand jobs, and your scouting reports probably have to be a little bit crisper. And our winning percentage is tied with the Magicians and the Lakers right now.
Okay.
We've all played different games, but winning percentage is the same.
Wow.
So it's, and we have 6 losses, so it's.
That just shows you how important Friday night's game really is. That's, whoever wins that moves ahead of the other one, percentage-wise.
Yeah, absolutely. And with us having a game up, if the Magicians come in here and beat us, that's a 4-point swing for them.
Okay.
So.
And that said, again, like last weekend, you really learned a lot about the guys' intestinal fortitude. and you liked what you saw. So, I mean,
Loved it,
as far as being prepped and mentally ready, you got a pretty good feeling right now, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I loved where we were last week. I mean, it's kind of been us though. I mean, I think we've been a real big Jekyll, Dr. Hyde type team this year, and so we'll see. We'll see what happens. But I think right now we're on the right track, and that's the only thing you can hope for is the guys come out and give an effort.
Okay. Just overall, I mean, it has been a while since we chatted here on the camera. Just impressions of being in a new league this year and everything. Is it? It seems like it's been a pretty nice move, and it's given. You've made a trip to the East Coast and had a big tournament here. It's been kind of a fun season, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's been fun. I think in that aspect for sure. And there's a lot of I think little quirks and stuff like that we're still getting used to out here. From the East, or what the East wants out of us, and it's just there's going to be growing pains in that and learning, and but other than that, I mean, it's been fairly good. I wish I wish our deadline was a little bit different. I wish it was normal, just because today we're getting calls for North American League teams if they can bump a guy down for a weekend, and
that would have been nice.
Well, and that's the stuff that they don't get out there because there's no North American League there, and we've always had those relationships, and not that it hurts it, but it takes that opportunity away, and that's not something we want to do.
Yeah.
So I mean, that would probably be my biggest thing, but other than that, I think it's made teams stronger. The parity's great, obviously, what we were just talking about, and the depth of the division. So I mean, it's been pretty good.
Fan-wise, last weekend might have been one of our best weeks. Maybe going back to the Rochester series and the playoffs. It was kind of nice to see. We got some pretty good fan support. For some reason, Baraboo is really loving the Ducks right now. I can't tell you how many people I see coming through the door from Baraboo. Now, clearly, Rapids brings a bit of a contingent with them. But we had a nice local crowd last week, too. And here's hoping that continues, but that's got to be good for the boys just to see that.
It's funny because you'll hear them talk about it.
Yeah.
I mean, they do. They notice it. They'll notice when people are here and when people are not here. So it was good to hear them, appreciate it. And, and I'm sure that probably gives them that little bit of pat on the back to push a little harder. And they were excited to play in front of that group last weekend.
Yeah, and I do like to think that, once somebody does see our team in action, that we'll win them over because the product is so good. No matter, not just us, the other teams as well. But, keep coming out. Bring a friend. It's been great. Last weekend was really nice. Obviously our crowds haven't been always that great, but last week was fantastic, and the guys really appreciate it. And they are going to reward you with some great hockey, I guarantee it. So if you get a chance this weekend or in our regular season finale, which I think it'll be in mid-February, come on out, and hopefully we can give you some playoff hockey to watch too. Coach, thank you so much for taking the time today.
Yeah, buddy.
And good luck this weekend.
Thank you very much. Nice being with you again.
All right. We'll see you soon here on Dell's Ducks This Week.